Welcome to Papa Bus Adventures. In this episode, we're going to visit the Stagecoach Road just outside of Marshall, Texas. The Stagecoach route actually includes Poplar Street, which goes from Loop 390 into the center of Marshall, Texas. But the more scenic part of it starts at Loop 390 and goes east on Poplar Street. You'll start out with 2.5 miles approximately of paved road, which goes through some residential, ranches, farmland, and it's pretty scenic in itself. At the end of the 2.5 miles, you'll see the road turn sharply to the left, the paved part, and then the dirt road begins at this point and continues that way all the way over to Karnak. The old Stagecoach Road between Marshall and Karnak, Texas. This is the last remaining original dirt road called the old Stagecoach Road. It was part of the Marshall-Shreveport Stagecoach line. It was established in 1850 and ran for a little over 10 years until the arrival of the Texas Pacific Railroad. The stage line was founded by William Bradford and his son John and ran between Shreveport, Louisiana and Marshall, Texas 3 times a week. The route is a registered historical site. The marker was one time stolen and recovered somewhere in Colorado. The marker has been returned and will be placed at the Pine Bluff Church. So at this point on your journey, you may think you have gone too far on this paved road. You haven't. It's 2.5 miles. Keep going. At this point, you're coming to the end of the paved road. It will turn sharp to your left and the dirt road goes off to your right. So now you're on the older part of the Stagecoach Road, the dirt part. This is where the scenery gets really invigorating, and you'll see a lot of the depression where over the years the many stagecoaches that ran this route eroded the soil down. Some places 2 to 3 feet, other places up to 12. This road has become exceedingly popular around Halloween, as there are many stories of hauntings. The road is very popular with ghost hunters throughout the year. When researching this road, I found several articles that were written regarding the hauntings that have been reported. Among those are two that were similar in each report. The first is called The Drowning Mother. As the story goes, a family of four were making their way out west on this road. One of the wagon wheels needed repair, and the father got off and started working on it. He had completed the repairs and was lowering the wagon off of the blocks when something went wrong, and he was either struck or crushed. He died, and his family buried him alongside the roadway. His wife, son, and daughter continued on and made their way to this area. Stopping to water the horses and replenish their water supply, the children were running around the lake when the girl fell in. Her brother jumped in to save her, and they both drowned. Later, their mother jumped in to try and find her children, and she also drowned. Various people have stated that on foggy nights they have seen a woman wandering down the road along this stretch. When the car lights get close, she looks off the road towards the lake and disappears into the woods. The second story that I was told had to do with the hanged men. The stage drivers and passengers would report that robbers would jump on the stage where the road was the deepest and narrow. There would sometimes be a log or other object in the road to slow the stage and then make it to veer to one side or the other. When the stage slowed and got close enough, the robbers would jump on the stage and make the driver stop. They would then take whatever possessions were there and flee into the woods. Since it was 10 to 12 miles outside of Marshall, so by the time the driver reported the robbery to the sheriff, the robbers were always gone. However, on one such robbery, the stage line had added gunmen to the passenger list. So after the robbers jumped on the stage, they were surprised to find guns pointed at them. As the story goes, the three robbers were hung on a tree limb that stretched out over the road so that any other potential outlaws would see them and think twice before robbing any more on this road. People have reported seeing them hanging at night, even though there are no tree limbs at that exact point over the road. When we traveled the route in November, there was considerable graffiti on the walls of the cuts. Given time, nature will wash all of it away as the taggers sprayed the paint on dirt that will eventually clean itself each time it rains. If you're interested in traveling this road just to see what it was like, here are the directions in Marshall, Texas. From Interstate 20, take US 59 north 4.5 miles to Poplar Street. Turn right on Poplar and travel 1.2 miles on Harris Loop Road. The pavement will veer to the left and the dirt road will continue straight. This is the beginning of the Stagecoach Road on the Marshall side. This continues for 7.45 miles until it reaches Texas Highway 43 just outside Karnak, Texas. This brings us to the end of this episode. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe, like, and share. It will help us grow the channel.